I'm doing good.
So that gives us a little more time to talk about Game Night. That is in theaters now, and this is doing pretty well from a standpoint of, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, they're not too shabby on this. This movie, did you get a chance to see this?
No, maybe tonight.
Okay. Christian and I both saw this, as well as Kathryn back there on the Tiny Tim cam. She saw this, so she's going to talk about this, her thoughts on it after the break. But it's got a great cast of people that you may recognize. Who were some of the folks in this particular movie?
Rachel McAdams, Jason Bateman, those were the big two. Do you have any more?
Yeah, those are the two,
those are the big
leads
two
that really kind of stand out, and Kathryn may have a few more that she wants to talk about as well. It's a comedy. It's a full-blown comedy. It was directed by, if anybody ever saw the TV show Bones, Sweets, remember Sweets? He directed and also co-wrote this movie, and he actually has a cameo in this film as well. But it's about this this couple that they're very ultra competitive. They always have been, but they're great at any kind of game, and they find each other during kind of a game night at a bar, and they're the perfect match. And so once they get married, they end up hosting game nights for their friends. And just so happens that Jason Bateman's character has an older brother, and there's been this sibling rivalry going on since they were kids. The older brother always kind of gets one up on him on everything, and he happens to show up, and he has basically a perfect game. It's kind of a mystery game where somebody's kidnapped. You find out all this in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. So the game is somebody gets kidnapped, and you're supposed to find out who it is, but actually somebody does end up getting kidnapped. It's the older brother. And so the comedy follows, it's a road trip comedy. And it's also kind of this, bumbling, what happens next mystery kind of comedy. How else would you describe this as far as a comedy?
Whenever I watched it, I almost got the impression that it was almost an action movie that they made comedic, because the structure of it, like you said, is kind of like that road trip idea, to where really it doesn't have the feel of a comedy so much as it feels like a really, really funny action film.
Yeah, an adventure film as well.
Yeah, an adventure film, like you said, a mystery film. So, I mean, it incorporated a lot more elements than just like the traditional comedy sense that we would have expected going in.
It's got slapstick, it's got some fun characters, and I really feel this, while we've only mentioned two of the characters, it's an ensemble-driven film. And you got to really know things about the other characters through some interesting little backstories as well of things that would pop up during conversation. Ultimately, you see, because these folks are friends and they've been together for so long doing game nights, you get a chance to see them kind of solve this mystery as a team, or work to solve the mystery as a team. I found this to be a fun escape from kind of the politics and chaos that we see in everyday news right now. That's kind of front and center in our nation. Sometimes we need a little distraction, and for me, I needed this distraction. It's far from a perfect film, but I did find that this kind of mystery road trip adventure, was filled with some laughs that really got me. The ensemble engagement really worked for me, and there were a few surprises, and also a very creepy neighbor. And so my rating for this, I gave it a B-. It was a decent film. I didn't find it great, didn't find it perfect, but I found it, for me, it was worth the view.
The plot wasn't that strong, and there were some weaknesses, but I laughed the whole time, and I had a great time watching it. And I actually gave it the same grade. I gave it a B- because I really enjoyed it in spite of some of the flaws that it may have had.
Yeah, I think, Greg, sometimes that's really kind of what you need when you go into a movie, especially a comedy. You just kind of need to get away, and if you can find yourself laughing through it, even though there are maybe a few issues with it, and walk away going, you know what, I had fun. And ultimately, it was the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah.
So,
and Jason Bateman's good. I've always been a fan of his. He's one of the most likable people, I think, in Hollywood right now. I don't know what he's like as a person, but on screen, he's just very engaging, kind of like Paul Rudd in that way.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to talk about Paul Rudd a little later with a movie that I saw Paul Rudd in, but Bateman just feels like a kind of a regular guy. When I see him on screen, I feel like he's somebody I can hang out with and enjoy, spending time with.
Trivia, you know who his sister is?
Yes, I do. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that is Justine Bateman.
Yes.
Justine Bateman from Family Ties TV show with Michael J. Fox and Meredith Baxter Birney and Michael Gross.
Michael Gross.
What?
Yes.
Look at me. Look at me.
Very good.
Look at me.
You are in a good mood, and it's getting annoying.
It's a happy day for you.
The happy dance. Gotta have some happy dance music. Okay, Christian, any other thoughts or comments to share before we wrap things up?
The score by Clint Mansell, since I'm the big music guy, really fun. It was this like electronic score, kind of what you'd hear on like a 90s video game sort of thing. Really fun, and I thought it fit the tone of the music, or the tone of the film very perfectly.
Yeah, it did have this kind of video game, like feel like you were watching an old Pac-Man or something. And it really did work with this movie.
Yeah, and so I really enjoyed that, and that was a note that I made when I left, because I just thought it was really cool, and it added a lot, I thought.
And the movie also had a lot of gimmicks as it related to games threaded throughout the entire film, and I really liked that. I mean, that really worked. It felt like every gimmick was purposeful, and that was kind of cool. So if you're looking for a comedy just to get away, the two of us would recommend checking it out, B-. We're going to bring Kathryn in after this break. Kathryn Manning, you still back there? Are you getting ready? All right, she's going to come out and give you her thoughts on game night and the Tim Cam. I think Tim wants to check out this movie too. He likes comedies. He does. He likes comedies. Christian Jessup, he's going to take off and go do some music stuff.
You know,
he is the Critics' Choice Scholar. He joins us this week, and we appreciate it. And we've got Trapper John, MD, over there. He's going to be back after the break as well. So stick around. Thanks for tuning in to Meet Me at the Movies.
They're going to put me in the movies. They're going to make a big star out of me.
Welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. I am Noel Manning II. Thanks for tuning in to C19TV. And if you are checking this out via the podcast, that's from WGWG.org. Over behind camera one, beside camera one, who is that? That is Corporal Maxwell Q. Klinger, right there. Klinger. Say it again with me, Klinger.
I'd forgotten his first name. You threw me for a minute.
Yeah, Corporal.
I haven't worn a dress in a long time.
Well, you know,
we were
thinking with, the shaving of the beard, maybe we could put a tutu on you, and, we could see how that is. So maybe next time.
What kind of weird thoughts do you think sometimes?
Man, I have all sorts of crazy thoughts dancing around in here. And if you don't believe me, you can ask the person to my right, Kathryn Manning.
It's very true.
Critics' Choice Scholar. That's right, Kathryn Manning.
Very true.
You have to live with that, too.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I can't believe I haven't moved out yet. Wow.
There's still time. We're still working on that.
She'll figure out a way.
There's Tiny Tim Cam and Miranda. Go. He says go. Move out.
Run
Find
while
a place.
I still can.
Run while you can. This is Meet Me at the Movies. We do talk movies right here each week. Kathryn's back to share her thoughts on game night. She and I took this movie in together, and we both laughed. I don't know if that means you liked it or not, but we did both laugh. I gave my rating for this before the break. B- is what I gave this. Also, Christian Jessup gave this a B- as well. So, Kathryn, fill in your thoughts on what you thought about this movie and why you did or did not like this movie, and any names that you think we still need to mention that were in this film.
Well, a couple names to mention. Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights. You've seen him in a lot of different things, but he's known for Friday Night Lights. And then Lamorne Morris, who, for any New Girl fans, is Winston on New Girl. So those were some really great additions to the cast. I agree with you and Christian that it was a great chemistry between the entire cast. What I really enjoyed about it is I think sometimes with comedies, things get so lost because there's just so many jokes. But with this, it was very detail-oriented.
Okay.
There were just things that kept coming back, and they didn't leave, anybody hanging. And I liked that, because a lot of times it can be just joke, but it's not much of a plot.
Yeah.
And so I felt like this did a really good job of making a plot out of a comedy. And I agree with Christian. It was almost an action movie with comedic elements. And so I really appreciated that. It reminded me a lot of the movie Date Night from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Steve Carell,
Tina
Tina Fey.
Fey.
And so I enjoyed that movie. So it was a really great kind of tie-in.
That's a good comparison.
That was a good movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good comparison. That's a great comparison. What was your rating?
B+.
B+. Okay. B+ for Kathryn for game night. That is in theaters now.